All right, so today we're starting chapter 2, which is called transformations. So we have our notes broken down by the different types of transformations. And the first one we're going to talk about is a translation. So our goal for today is I can translate points in their coordinate plane and write their locations. You can go ahead and pre-rate yourself on how you feel about doing that. If you know what a translation is, you might feel pretty good. If you forgot what a translation is, then maybe you should give yourself a 1. And I say forgot because you did learn this in algebra. Okay, there are 4 basic ways to change the appearance of a shape. They are translations, which we will talk about today, rotations, reflections, and dilations. It's not dilations, it's dilations, just so everyone's spelling it right. So I have these first 3 grouped together because translations, rotations, and reflections, if you do that to a figure, the size of the shape will not change. Okay, it's just flipping something, turning something, moving something. Now dilation is going to change the shape. All of these, once again, are called transformations. All right, so today, like I said, we're going to learn about translations. A translation is when a shape shifts up or down or I should say left or right. So realize it can be a combination of up or down and left or right. So you can do down and left or down and right, up and left or up and right, or just up or just down or just left or just right. When we write translations, they're written as vectors. So how do you write a vector? A vector, you're going to use, it looks like a less than sign, and then A, comma, B, and then it looks like a greater than sign. So it's not parentheses. Don't use parentheses. You're just going to use your vector brackets is what they're called. Okay. So why do we write it like this? The A value. So if there was a 6 there, I'm just going to call it the A value for now. That's going to tell us how to move our graph left or right. And the B value is going to tell us how to move our graph up or down. So for example, if you saw translate along the vector and then it said -3, 2, like so, this means left 3 and this means up 2. Okay, so let's do some examples, okay? Now, make sure you're listening to what I'm saying here because I'm going to tell you what's required for the test. What's required for the test is not just the drawing. You need the points listed also. Okay, so this one says translate triangle ABC along the vector 3, 1 and graph the new triangle and state the location of the new labeled points. Okay, so remember, this right here is right or left. Since it's positive, that's right 3. This is up or down. Since it's positive, it's up 1. So all 3 of my points, I'm going to move right 3 and up 1. I'll start with A. 1, 2, 3 to the right, 1 up. Here's A's new location. Now we're not going to label it A because A is right here. What we label it is A prime. It's a little tick mark right there. So A prime. Now we're going to do the same thing to B. Move it over 3 and up 1. I'll label this B prime. Finally, C, over 3 and up 1, C prime. Now I can connect my 3 points to form the triangle right there. It's nice that your iPad gives you the ability to make straight lines because then you can see that the shape or size did not change. All right, now here's a very important part. State the location of the new labeled points. This is a part, if you're skipping it, you're missing 3 entire points on your test. So make sure that you are writing them all down. I'm going to say A prime, and then I use a parentheses, and I'm going to write the location. So A prime is at 0, 4. That's its new location. So basically you're writing the ordered pair and then putting its name right in front of it. B prime is at 0, negative 1. And C prime is at 2, negative 1. Those are my 3 new points. Okay? All right, let's look at the next one. Translate the triangle ABC along the vector negative 2, 2 and graph the new triangle. Then state the location of the new labeled points. So make sure you're doing both of these things, especially on the homework 2, homework 1. Okay, so this means move it left. This means up. Do not confuse these two. It doesn't mean down and to the right. Left or right first, then up or down next. All right, so I'll start with A, left 2, up 2. Here's A prime. B, left 2, up 2. There's B prime. C, left 2, up 2. There's C prime. Go ahead and connect those. And there's your new triangle. All right, we're going to write their locations. A prime. And what I see a lot, which is not right, is people put A prime equals. That's not, you're writing the name directly in front of it. So A prime is at negative 5, 5. B prime is at negative 5, 0. And C prime is at negative 3, 0. Okay, so that is so far what we've learned about translations. One thing that I can tell you also about translations is what we call each of these. So this right here is called the pre-image. That's what it looks like before you move it. This right here is called the image. The image is where it's moved to, just for future reference. Okay. Next one says, which vector has been applied to triangle ABC? So I want to know, how do I get ABC to fall on top of A prime, B prime, C prime? So first off, make sure you locate ABC correctly and not accidentally choose A prime, B prime, C prime. All right, so you really only have to check 1 point, like to figure this out, but then make sure you're right with the other 2 points. Okay, so how do I get from, let me change this color here, A to A prime? What would I have to do? Remember, you're going left or right first because that's your first number. 1, 2, 3, 4. I would have to go left 4, or sorry, right 4. If I have to go right 4, that's a positive 4. So I'm going to put the vector sign, positive 4, comma. Then I would have to go 1, 2, down. Down 2 is a negative 2. So the vector is 4, negative 2. All right, here's one that doesn't have a picture. Here's one that doesn't have a picture. So it says, what single vector, so my answer is just one vector, was applied to transfer triangle QRS to triangle Q prime, R prime, S prime, and then it gave you the location of QRS and Q prime, R prime, S prime. So once again, it says single vector. So I want my answer to be a vector. So I'm going to start off by going like this to get myself set up for success here. Okay, so I'm going to compare Q to Q prime. And I'm going to say, how could I get Q to fall onto Q prime? I can then check my answer with R and S. Okay, so let's look at this. First, I'm going to start by looking at the X value, where it was at. It was at a 2, and it got moved to negative 3. So that means it went 5 to the left. So I'm going to do minus 5. Next, I'm going to look at my Y's. It was at a negative 3, and now it's at a 1. What do I do to a negative 3 to get it to be a 1? I add 4. I'm moving it to the right 4. So this is a 4 right here. Now I can always check it on R and S. So here's R to R prime. Is negative 1 minus 5 negative 6? Yes. Is 5 plus 4 9? Yes. And if you want to be super safe, you could also check it with S and S prime. Okay, that's it for translations. Please re-rate yourself on how you feel about translations. I have a feeling everyone's feeling pretty good.